things are struck by lightning, they tend to blow up.
On this electrifying episode of
I'm ready to fry some things.
Survival Science, Laura Shira and Nick Munt explore one of nature's deadliest forces, lightning. Using a high-tech lab, they'll simulate these terrifying bolts to reveal their destructive power and find the best survival strategies. They'll even subject themselves
Seriously, what are we doing?
to millions of volts to discover the truth behind lightning's deadly force.
Welcome to Survival Science. Today we're at a lab that was built for one thing and one thing only.
That's right, Laura. Today we're at DNB Engineering in Anaheim, California. And in this laboratory, they produce sparks. And not just any sparks, but the kind of sparks that run over 2 million volts of juice through something.
Well, that makes it the perfect place to delve into one of nature's deadliest forces, lightning. And can you believe that over 500 people every single year are struck by lightning?
I know, that's crazy.
Well, we want to find out what makes these bolts from the blue so dangerous.
And with DNB's lightning generators, we're going to put the destructive power of lightning to the test and see what we can better do to protect ourselves. Are you ready to juice things up?
I'm ready to fry some stuff.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Lightning is one of nature's most powerful phenomena, striking the Earth more than 1 billion times a year. On average, 50 people are killed by lightning strikes annually, and many of the victims are outdoor enthusiasts.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
Brian Broaddus is the president of DNB, and sort of the Lightning Lab's mad scientist.
We provide lightning test services to various industries, aircraft industry, power line companies, pretty much anybody and everybody that can be struck by lightning, we end up running lightning tests for them.
Wow, so you're zapping things all day long.
All day long.
I'm ready to fry some things.
I am too. Let's take a look around, show us
Yeah.
what you've got here. And
First over here, this is what we call our high voltage generator.
it's huge.
Yes, and scary.
It's actually a Marx generator. What we do with this is we generate the high voltage component of a lightning discharge. So if you notice, there's a bunch of different stages in this. Each of the stages are charged to about 70,000 volts, and then we discharge them in series that yields about 2 million volts at the output side.
So do you have any fun in here blowing up things that
We've blown up all kinds of things. Yeah, I think the worst thing was we tried a hot dog one day to see what would happen. We were picking pieces of hot dog off the wall for the next 5 years.
Well, over here I see a little gadget, and it looks like there's a lot of shrapnel around.
Yeah.
So let's go take a look at it and
All
tell
right.
us about this thing.
Sure.
Perfect.
Well, this is where we do our high current discharge, where you actually get all the physical damage. The current is really the driving force that provides the damage in a lightning strike. Notice we have a big heavy plywood backing because when things are struck by lightning, they tend to blow up.
Nick, I don't know about you, but I am so excited to strike some things with lightning. So we're gonna send 200,000 amps of electricity through a few things just to see what happens.
Right.
So I brought a couple of props. I have a can of soda here.
Okay.
But I'm gonna need one more thing.
What?
Your cell phone.
All
Hand
right.
it over.
Be
hand it
careful,
over.
high tech, a lot of equipment in there, you know,
Yeah,
a lot
high
of names
tech.
and numbers.
Hello, 2002 is calling.
Hey, I can't help it.
Who's your friend?
This is Terry, and I brought Terry along just to kind of simulate the human body. We can strike it with lightning and see just exactly what's going to happen. You ready?
Yeah, Terry's really excited.
No one can be inside the test chamber when the lightning generators fire, so Nick mans the control room while Laura heads for the observation deck.
Okay, here we go, guys. 3,
When Nick flips the switch and zaps
2,
the soda can with 200,000 amps,
1.
the results are shocking. Lightning travels at over 60 miles per second. So we need a special ultra slow motion camera called the Phantom to capture what actually happens. The explosion you're watching lasted just 4/100ths of a second. What we're seeing is vaporized aluminum. The lightning has superheated parts of the can to over 4,000 degrees. Also, we placed a slam stick on the frame of the lightning generator, and the device registered shock force of an astonishing 197 Gs. Next, we're rigging up Nick's cell phone to see what happens when you try charging your phone with a lightning bolt.
All right, you ready, Nick?
Nick's flip phone is a classic.
We're gonna discharge in 3,
He's making a huge sacrifice in the name of science.
1.
Lightning bolts can generate heat of over 50,000 degrees, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The flip phone is no match for that kind of power. In the test chamber, the current was so strong, it basically fried the phone's electronics.
Woo!
In the next test, Laura is going to run those couple 100,000 amps through Nick's friend, Terry. We've attached heat sensors to see if we can get any readings over the surface of the mannequin.
All right, Nick, we're ready to discharge again. In 3, 2,
Sorry, Terry.
1. Fire.
Nick and Laura have been testing the awesome power of lightning.
All right, Nick, we're ready to discharge again.
Now they're going to zap a mannequin with a 200,000 amp lightning bolt.
In 3, 2,
Sorry, Terry.
1. Fire.
They were hoping to gather heat readings from the strike, but when they go to check the data, they discover there isn't any. It seems that when they flipped the switch, the jolt was so intense, they vaporized the sensors. Then a few milliseconds later, the mannequin exploded. The lightning pulverized the hard plastic of Terry's upper body and traveled down his back, giving him a serious burn on his butt. Unfortunately for Terry, his time on survival science has come to an electrifying end.
So, Brian, can you show us behind the scenes where all this power is coming from? It's got to be hiding somewhere, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, look at this sign.
Yeah, this is where you
Do
always
not
want to be,
enter.
Yeah.
where it says danger.
Yes, this is the deadly part. All of this stuff in here is extremely lethal, so we don't really want to touch anything. We generate the high currents and then we pipe them through the wall out to the outside structure where we were looking before.
What's this contraption going on over here?
Whenever you run a lightning test, there are 3 different components to the lightning waveform. So we time it so that there's a 200,000 amp discharge from this generator, followed by a charge transfer from the other generator, and then the batteries over here.
How many batteries are right here?
There's 100, so we get 1,200 volts, but we're able to dump thousands of amps of current from the batteries.
Takes a lot to get a lightning to strike, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
A lot of power in this room.
Yeah.
Some lightning strikes have been measured at more than 1 billion volts. That's 500,000 times more powerful than an electric chair. Outdoorsmen must constantly be aware of this deadly threat.
One very scary encounter with bolts of electricity where a father and son were fishing on their favorite bass lake back in 2009.
That's right. Gabe and Christian Neal were fishing on Lake Harrisonville when the pair got struck by a bolt of lightning.
June 7th, 2009. Gabe Neal and his son Christian were bass fishing on Harrisonville Lake near Kansas City, Missouri, when an angry storm rolled in. They decided they should call it a day and set the trolling motor for shore. It was a smart move, but unfortunately, as they headed for land, they continued to cast.
Last thing I remember, us getting ready to cast. And then nothing. I don't know, it was just black.
Christian was knocked unconscious and badly burned, while Gabe was blasted into the water.
Never saw a flash. It's just immediately getting hit with a sledgehammer and being backwards in the water.
Fortunately, both men survived the accident. In the aftermath, they found Christian's graphite fishing rod had literally exploded.
This is the same type of rod that Christian was holding when he was struck.
And so today we're going to take this rod and strike it with lightning to see if we can replicate just what happened.
I'm excited to see what it's going to do.
I think it's going to be scary.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem possible that we'll be able to transform the sturdy graphite rod into that ball of fur. Nick is cranking the generator up to full throttle.
Okay, here we go again.
Laura is observing nervously.
3, 2,
Oh, God.
1.
Whoa!
We got something on fire.
We got a fire.
Nick and Laura are at DNB Engineering, testing what happened when a fisherman's graphite rod was struck by lightning.
Okay, here we go again. 3, 2,
Oh, God.
1.
We got something on fire.
We got a fire.
Something's gone wrong.
Whoa!
That did not look so good, so we're gonna go check it out right now. I'm a little nervous. I don't even know if I should be going in here after we saw what just happened, but we're gonna go check it out anyway. Come on. Whoa! Nick! Did you survive that?
What happened? You can't see from back there.
Are you
Holy!
kidding me?
Oh my
This
gosh!
is like a pile of fuzz.
Look at, there's fuzz just floating around everywhere. Look at that.
Whoa! I'm almost afraid to touch it. Ooh, it stinks.
It does stink. It smells like burnt hair.
Turns out graphite is an excellent conductor of electricity. So, holding a graphite pole is kind of like holding a lightning rod. And if it's struck, the intense heat will immediately vaporize the resins and other plastics used to keep the rod shape. The result is a giant smoking fur ball. Scientists well understand the enormous power of lightning. But another aspect of this phenomenon continues to confound scientists and safety experts. It's very difficult to accurately predict the path of a strike. Typically, lightning hits the highest point, but that's not always the case.
A lot of times people say, oh, if you're not the highest object, you're safe. But they've disproved that that is the case. When they redid the Statue of Liberty, they found multiple lightning damage points well down the statue, which is a big metallic statue. You would think that it would attach on the very high point with the torch, but it does not.
True.
Yeah,
Oh,
not
that's
at all.
crazy.
It's not really safe in any terms when it comes to a lightning bolt.
No.
For our next experiment, we're going to use DNB's giant Marks generator to try to duplicate the path of the bolt that hit Christian and Gabe Neal. We've set up two mannequins in the same position the Neals were in that terrible day. The bolt that struck Christian traveled down through his pole and into his midsection. Somehow, it also arced into Gabe's chest, traveled down his side, fried his cell phone on his waist, and continued down his leg before launching him overboard. Using our ultra slow motion phantom camera, we're going to see if our lightning bolt takes the same path.
All right, Nick. We're gonna discharge in 3, 2, 1.
The enormous voltage scrambles the electronics of our Phantom camera, and we think our footage is ruined. But then, with a careful frame-by-frame analysis, we catch some startling images. Each frame is capturing 1/3000th of a second. The bolt travels from the generator's metal sphere to Christian's pole, then arcs directly into his stomach, just like in real life. In our test, it doesn't make the jump to Gabe, but it's a graphic demonstration of lightning's unpredictable power. Next up,
Seriously, what are we doing?
it's Laura and Nick versus 2 million
Probably
volts.
way up there on the if you're dumb, you do this list.
One of the goals in lightning safety is to control the path of the electricity. But that's not easy. One way to do it is to create what's called a Faraday cage.
A Faraday cage is basically a metallic structure that provides a path for the lightning currents to keep them going where you want them to go and not where you don't want them to go.
Yeah, so when it comes to boating, you basically have a lightning rod on the boat.
Yeah, since it's metallic, it would tend to attract the lightning strike more so than the people in the boat.
What's the best way to keep from getting everybody electrocuted?
There are some commercial structures that they provide to help channel lightning strikes around people.
Is there any tips you'd give fishermen to keep them safe on the water?
If there's a lightning storm, get that boat in and get off the water.
No more one last cast. We hear that all the time.
I'm a hunter, so what's the safest thing to do for somebody if they're in the woods and a big lightning storm comes?
Yeah, the safest place to be is in your car.
In theory, a car acts like a Faraday cage. Lightning hits the metal of the car and then flows around the outside of the vehicle and runs harmlessly into the ground.
Speaking of vehicles, I think we'd like to put you guys in a car and hit it with a couple of million volts and see how you guys survive.
Well,
I'm kind of speechless, actually.
Nick and Laura take their positions. It's going to take around 9 minutes for the Marks generator to build up to 2 million volts. Our brave hosts must sit in the car and wait, and they won't know exactly when the lightning will strike. They'll only hear an alarm 2 seconds before the discharge.
Nick, I cannot believe you convinced me to do this.
it's not that big a deal, seriously. Just quit worrying about it.
2 million volts of lightning. No big deal.
But this whole experiment is to see that in a car during a lightning storm is the best place to be. It's completely safe in here.
All right, well, buckle up because we're going for a ride.
All right, here we go.
Definitely a tense situation.
Seriously, what are we doing? We're gonna come out of here with like no eyebrows.
I like to do things in the name of science.
Yeah.
This is just what
2
you
million
do.
volts. 2 million volts. You know what? I hope I get a T-shirt after this is over.
That's what we should
And
do.
I survived 2 million volts of lightning.
There you go.
The tension builds.
I mean, this is probably way up there on the if you're dumb, you do this list.
Right.
Yeah.
For it. Wait for it. Oh, jeez! Oh, wait. That was pretty radical, dude.
That was
gnarly.
unbelievable.
That was gnarly.
How did we survive that?
That was gnarly. Holy
Oh
smokes.
my God, we're still, are we alive?
I'm alive.
I mean,
I'm
this
alive.
could be heaven right now. We have no idea.
So it's true. Being inside a car does provide protection from lightning. The Phantom camera captured the evidence. When the 2 million volt arc strikes the car, it travels over the outside of the metal skin and down. Then it leaves the car and flows into the ground, keeping Nick and Laura safe.
Well, we've definitely demonstrated the true power of lightning. This used to be a carbon fiber fishing rod, and after one quick hit, this thing has turned into a
Stinky
big,
wig.
big ball of fuzz, yeah.
Our friend Terry got a little chapped. Lightning is no joke. So for all the fishermen out there, if you see a thundercloud, make sure you get off the water.
That's right, and if you're a hunter, get to the lowest spot you can. Get in a ravine or a ditch, or better yet, we've proven, get in the vehicle, because it'll definitely be safer in there.
That's true, but Nick, I forgot one thing.
What?
Forgot to give you your cell phone back.
Oh.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode, so join us next time as Nick and I put our lives on the line for survival science.